this video, I want to go over Oracle PL SQL Loops. Last time we went over TSQL Loops. Today we're going to go over the Oracle store procedure loop constructs. So again, just before we jump in, this is going to be row processing when you're executing loops in PL SQL. And it's usually better and definitely better for performance to use set-oriented processing, so operating on sets of rows at a time versus one row at a time. And again, that's the reason for that is because row-based processing must pull back every row to the result set to the client. That results in a lot of network calls and a lot more network traffic. And I'll just add that analytic functions and windowing have made loops like this a lot less necessary to use. And here's an example query where it's going to the orders table and it's getting for every order and then aligning it with its max order amount over all the orders for each customer, and then its average order amount. And then we could have that all lined up. So we could have the customer ID, the max order amount for that customer, the average order amount for that customer, and then the order amount from that individual order, and then lay that all out in the result set. A lot of times you do that with cursor-based processing in the past. So you don't have to do it because you can use analytic functions for that. So here's an implicit for loop example. So all I'm doing is declaring a table name, and then I'm creating a for loop here. And this is kind of nice as compared to T-SQL, where you can actually just create the cursor on the fly. You don't have to declare it or anything like that. You just get your SQL statement and then declare a record type that will, based on whatever you're selecting. In this case, I'm just selecting the column name from user tab columns. So the record's only going to have one column in it in this case. I'm going to the user tab columns, getting where the table name equals the table name I passed in, and ordering by the column ID. And in this case, I'm just outputting that table name and that column name in the loop. So that's a implicit for loop example. Here's another example of a for loop, and it's just using indexing. So basically we're just saying for index in, and we give it a lower bound. It's, it's just some sort of number 1, and we can have an upper bound 10. And then we loop over every index that gets returned until we get to the upper bound, and we execute whatever we need to execute. Okay, and then here's a while example. So we had for loops before. This is a while loop. So we're using the while, and then we've got our condition. So it's going to continue looping until this condition is false. And in this case, I initialize a to 1, and then while it's less than or equal to 5, I'm going to execute whatever it's done in the loop. I'm going to increment my counter, and then it's going to loop around until I get to, in this case, 6, and then it'll exit out and then say program completed. One more example here. We're going to go through an explicit example, which is very similar to the T-SQL that we went over on the last video. So I have to declare the cursor. In this case, the name is C1. I can pass parameters in. I could actually have more than one parameter if I want. I just have one in this case. Now I've got my select statement that corresponds with the cursor. I'm selecting a numerical column from table where column 1 equals the parameter value I've passed in. And I'm going to open that cursor. Then I'm going to start looping. I'm going to fetch from the cursor, and I'll take the value from the cursor and put it into L number, which is the variable I've declared up here. And I'm going to continue until C1 returns a not found. And then when I'm done, I just exit the loop. And then I'm going to close the cursor and then deallocate the cursor resources. So this would be a little bit more efficient in terms of the resource management and at the database level than the for structure that we looked at first. So it's your choice which one you want to do. And this is an example of explicit. For today's video, I really appreciate you guys watching. I really appreciate the subscriber bump. We actually got over 100 subscribers, so we're growing. Hey, please please share the channel with anybody you think that might be interested, and have them subscribe. And of course, drop your comments and your questions below so we can keep these videos going. I've noticed that the best, the most watched videos are the ones that you guys actually bring to the table. So I'm really looking forward to questions from the people who are actually subscribers to the channel. Talk to you guys later. Bye.